What's up, guys? I was talking with a guy earlier. He's a new cat fisherman, and we were talking about anchoring. And I have done several videos on how to anchor, but I never did a basic video on anchoring. So I wanted to break anchoring, just anchoring down, right? So we're driving down the river. We see this structure here that we want to mark, or that we want to fish. So what you'll do is you'll go to your screen, hold your finger down on the structure on your side scan. That'll drop a marker, a waypoint. Then you flip over to your maps, you find that waypoint. You bring your boat around to where you're directly in line with it, and you go up. So for this demonstration, we're going to say you're in 30 feet of water. So what you want to do is I like to be 100 feet from my structure. So you drive your boat up here, and once you get to 190 feet, because remember we got 30 feet of water, we like 3 times the depth an anchor rope. On my anchor rope on my boat, I have knots, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. I have them tied with loops on my anchor rope. So that when I drive up and I see the depth, I can holler up to whoever's dropping the anchor. I can say, hey, third loop, right? That would be 90 feet. So you drive up 190 feet, you drop your anchor. When you drop your anchor, you float back that 90 feet, and that's going to put you right here, 100 feet away from that structure. And the reason that is 3 times the depth just seems to give you the perfect angle on your anchor rope so that your anchor will grab. So that is basic anchoring. Then you're going to end up right in front of your structure, and you're going to throw baits all around your structure, and you're actually going to be fishing your structure. Now, throwing baits. So a lot of these tournaments that I fish, we're allowed 10 rods. Well, for guys like the guy I was talking to earlier who don't have much experience using 10 rods. So let's say this is the back of your boat. You got 3 rod holders here, 3 rod holders here, 2 on each side. And here's your motor, right? When I throw my rods off the back of the boat, and this is important, your structure's back here, right? Your structure's 100 feet behind you, right here. So this is important. When I throw my rods, I start here and here. I throw this one long, all the way to the structure, and then I throw this one short. Then I throw this one long, and I throw this one short. This one long, this one short. And what that does, that puts your baits out there like this. And the reason that's important is because when a fish picks this thing up and runs like this, he's going to go underneath all these lines. If he picks this one up and he runs like this, he's going to go underneath all those lines. So when you stagger your baits out there, it gives you a better chance of not tangling up all of your rods as you're bringing a fish in. So it's always start right beside the motor, long, short, long, short, long, short, or short, long, however you do it. Just that's how I cast my rods. So when you got your baits out there, you know where your structure is, you know how far you're throwing your poles, and you're just putting baits all around the structure. So now comes when anchoring just isn't, you're anchored, right? Here's your boat, you're anchored, here's your structure, anchor's out here, and the current is flowing this way. So here's when anchoring becomes a problem. When your wind is coming this way. When you have wind, you're anchored north and south, and you have a west wind. It's going to be pushing against the side of your boat, and your boat's going to want to drift out here. Here's how you can combat that as long as you have current. Get a 5'6" drift sock and put that drift sock off the back of your boat. What that's going to do is the current is going to catch that drift sock, and it's going to be putting this kind of tension on your boat. So although you have wind coming from the side, the current is going to help pull you straight back. So anytime you have an adverse wind, a wind that's different than the current, that is how you can use a drift sock to utilize how to keep your boat straight. Because anchoring is really important. What's really important about anchoring is you're anchoring to fish a structure. If you're anchoring to fish here, and you have a wind blowing here, and it blows your boat over here, well, now you're throwing your lines out here, and you've completely missed what you're fishing. So when you're anchoring to fish, you're precision anchoring. You know that structure's there, and this right here is where your boat has to be. Now you have to take in all the factors around you to make sure that your boat stays right there so that you can fish that structure. And like I said, when you have wind, when you have crosswind coming across, or you have wind from the back blowing your boat, anything but straight down river at your nose, a drift sock is a really good way to combat that. Now, let's talk about when you don't have wind. You don't have wind, but you have current. It's not real strong current, right? It's weak current. So you have your boat here. I know I suck at drilling boats. You have your boat here. You're anchored up here, and you have a current. You have no wind, but you have low current. What I like to do is I have 2 mushroom anchors, depending on how bad my boat's moving. Because if you don't have current, your boat is for sure going to sway this way, and it's going to sway back this way. And what that does is it pulls all your lines tight, and then it slacks them up. And it pulls all your lines tight, and it slacks them up. And eventually they'll get tangled. But if you take, I have a 20-pound mushroom anchor, and I just toss it off right here. Now, just tossing that anchor off isn't going to do you any good. One big thing about anchoring. So here's your motor, right? You have this motor, and it goes all the way down to your skick. And here's your prop. One thing that you have to realize is as the current is flowing past your motor, if you turn that motor this way, the current's going to catch it and it's going to push your boat, the back of your boat, that way. If you turn the motor the opposite way, the current's going to push on your motor and it's going to turn the back of your boat the opposite way. So if you throw your anchor off the port side of the boat and you turn your motor to where the prop is facing the port side of the boat, the wind will, or the current will catch it and it'll pull your boat and pull against that anchor. Now that anchor's holding you in place and your boat motor's holding you in place, it'll hold you steady. But what you have to remember is your structure's right here. So if you're going to do that and it's going to slightly push the back of your boat to the left, you want to be on the right side of your structure so that when your boat swings, you're pointing straight at the structure you're trying to fish. So that's how I anchor in no current or low current. The other option is absolutely no current, but you still want to anchor, and that is you just throw anchors off both backsides of your boats and pray that you don't sway around. So, like I said, there was a lot of confusion on just basic anchoring, and I didn't realize it, but the guy I talked to today, he says, I can't find any videos at all on just how to anchor. Like, what if you have a crosswind, and what if you have this? Now, I'm not sponsored by Never Lost Anchors. That's the anchor I have on my boat currently. I do plan on buying the Smackdown catfishing anchor. I think Stacy Gaston makes a great anchor. But any type of anchor that's got long prongs on it, and the biggest thing is to make sure your anchor is a breakaway anchor. Fishing in these rivers, that sucker will get caught on any and everything. A breakaway anchor has a chain that comes up, a zip tie around the top of it. So if you get stuck, you just use your boat cleat, you back up, you break that chain. Now you're picking the anchor up from the bottom and you won't lose it. So like I said, I wanted to do this video to help the guy out that I talked with earlier, as well as some of you. I didn't realize that it's hard to find videos on how to anchor. Leave some comments, ask me some questions about fishing, anything you guys want to know. I love doing video responses to questions. Any kind of demonstrations I can do, I'd be happy to do it. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully we'll see you on the water soon. Take care.